What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.
Welcome to Football Focus, episode 12, where we cover all things football in the top of the South. I'm Chris Butler, and welcome back to my co-host, Paul Bryden.
Butts, how are you?
Great to have you here, mate. And our very special guest, which we've been trying to get in for a while, haven't we, Holly de Cesare. You're part of the Nelson Women's Premiership League winning side, the Hot House Creative Richmond Foxes.
I am, yes.
Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
And congratulations, by the way. Bubba on the way. So starting to build that football team.
Probably why it's been hard to get me here.
Yeah. Well, that was the excuse. So yes. we gave you that one. On this week's show, we talk senior men's and women's local premiership, the end of season cup games, the Southern League and Women's League teams, overseas news, and the English Premiership. Let's get straight into it, and the Nelson Pine Senior Women's Premiership. And let's look at the results from last week. Hot House Creative Richmond Foxes 4-2 over Get Cars FC Nelson Diamonds. We'll talk about your season soon. Spriggan Fern Tahuna Breakers 3-1. Golden Shield Maidens 3-1 over Spriggan Fern Tahuna Breakers. Well done, Phil. Mapua Cougars went down 3-1 to Nelson Suburbs Reserves. Nelson Suburbs Swans, geez, I've had a late surge in the season, 7-1 against the Motueka AFC Angels.
I tell you what, Butts, I reckon we picked all those results.
Did you? You reckon we've done the sweep stuff?
I reckon we picked the Foxes, we picked Golden Bay, we picked the Suburbs Reserves, and we picked the Swans over the Hot.
Finally, got it.
We should have put money on that if you could bet on it.
First of all, congratulations to you, Holly, and your team, and to Slotsy. You've won another premiership.
Yep. I think it's the 5th year in a row.
Wow.
For us.
How's that?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good feeling. Hasn't been an easy road, but we've got there.
So tell us about the game against Diamonds. Did you manage to catch that game?
Yep, I did. Obviously being Slotsy's last game, taking our team. He actually leaves today, I think.
Yeah.
Flies out to Australia. So, look, the Diamonds are always a super tough team to play for us. They're probably in the league, aside from us, the most experienced, the most physical, the most skillful on the ball. And, they've kind of got a core of players that have been together for a few years now, which makes a huge difference, just like us. So we always knew that it was going to be a super tough game. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But overall, big celebrations and very happy.
Yes, it was a tough game. But interestingly enough, we were up 3-0 at halftime. We scored about 3 goals within about 20 minutes.
Oh.
Don't ask me how, just Slotsy would have been proud, just delivering off some set pieces done at training, and awesome goals from corners, and took our opportunities, but also missed some absolute sitters. So yeah.
Right.
So how long's Slotsy been there?
We worked it out that him and I started managing coaching together in 2016. So
7, 8 years,
7, 8 years, yeah. We think.
Yeah.
But and that was after us nagging him insistently that he was going to be our coach because we didn't have one.
Well, he lived just down the road.
He did. He said he'd help out for a year.
And he has actually always been Nelson United, but he lives down the road.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Well, the connection was I'm friends with his daughter Jimmy, and she played in our team. So we
did say he'd coached his son, and he said, I can't not coach the daughter.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So, so also perhaps a little bit emotional because it has been an era.
Yeah.
And it comes to an end. So what was that like for the team?
It was. It's funny. John, as you probably know, isn't the most outwardly emotional guy, and that's fine because I'm not really that way inclined either. So we got along quite well. But we've been really fortunate as a team to have a coach of his caliber, of his experience, his knowledge for that long. He had ample opportunity to coach any team, probably more so in the men's space each year, but he chose to coach us. And I think having a consistent coach that ran good trainings, that knew what he was doing, management was sorted, was a real attraction to players in the region. So I think he's been a huge contributor to developing the women's side of the game at Richmond. And it's something we'll be, forever grateful for. So big shoes to fill.
And it's good that you've obviously, look, it does take a good coach, but at the end of the day, it does take good players.
It does. Yeah.
And I think over the years, you've always had to, with getting those results, it's a bit easier to track players there, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I joined Richmond in 2012, I think, and we've been working and building that women's team ever since then. So we've had players that have played as long as I have there, and players that have been kind of more come on when Slotsy came on, like the likes of Laura Phipps, Megan Hodson, even more recently players such as Marianne Canton, Michaela Stanbridge-Bride, and we've been able to keep the core players, but also that core leadership team. And it's been, it shows on the field. So
those girls didn't get attracted to go to suburbs to play in this new mainland competition, or were they asked, or?
I don't believe we were asked.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
I think Slotsy made a comment that potentially there needed to be a closer connection, in that circle. Especially in representative football, which is, I find the difficulty with club football because you have to go to a club to play that, whereas the smaller regions don't have the resources to do that, and it needs to be combined, and it needs to be an entity that all, that's the model I played in Western Australia was Bunbury United.
You always bring that team up, don't you,
Mate, they were legends.
I know where that is.
Oh, there you go.
I actually know where
they were legends. They won the Mitre Cup over there.
Yeah.
And I used to play with all the guys that won it, and they're all in about 50s and 60s, but they still talk about that game. But the thing there is that all the clubs in that district fed the Southwest Phoenix, and they went and played in a Sunday Perth League. I think they tried that model in Hawke's Bay, and I just think that that's the model for regional New Zealand. Individual clubs are only going to be able to do that if they have a Russian millionaire. Exactly like Christchurch United. They're trying to be the English Premiership, and we're not built like that. So I don't actually agree with that model. However, that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think we did have some players that were interested in joining that team, and one player that did go off and kind of play in their warm-up games and test and see what it was like. I think her work situation changed, so it made it just not very realistic for her. But we always understood that we can get players to a certain level, and then happy to support them wherever they go forward.
Before Richmond, Holly, either in Nelson or outside the region, had you been involved in football prior to that?
Yeah. So I actually played for Suburbs for a season when I came back from university in Wellington. Had a bit of a gap in playing football in Wellington while I was studying, but before that based in South Canterbury playing for there, but we're going back a while now, so it was more school teams.
So are you originally from South Canterbury?
Yes,
I am. Nice.
Yeah
And in goal, so
yes, that's a recent development.
So you were on the pitch, and then you went into goal.
So more of a left back, left wing type position for me throughout my footballing career. But we kind of got to a point where we didn't have a goalie, and I thought, well, I'm only one, but stupid enough and crazy enough to give it a go.
Have you actually enjoyed it?
I have. There has been times I haven't. But it gives you a new perspective of the game, I think, playing in goal. And you get away with a lot too.
Well, Sasha would attest to that, didn't he? But sometimes she came home and went, I'm never playing this game again, after being in goal. But it is a skill in its own. And I reckon a very special breed that goes in there. But it's a very important part of the game.
It is. Well, and it's a good way to stay involved as you kind of get older and a little bit slower.
Yeah, true. Phil Smith, he plays in goal too. So, all right, that's fantastic. Congratulations, well done. It doesn't quite end there, because we've got the cup final in Tākaka. We've got FC Nelson Wahine taking on Nelson Suburbs Reserves at the Tākaka Rec Ground. So what are our thoughts about that game? What are you picking there, Holly?
Look, both. I think Sasha's team, the Wahine, have come a long way. I think they can be really proud of the season they had. I think ultimately the Suburbs Women's Reserves will be a little bit too strong for them the day. I can't pick a score, but I'm picking the Reserves to win.
No, well, you'd have to go with Suburbs. A few of your girls have been in Blenheim this week at tournament, so look, some young girls, they'll be tired. I think they get back this afternoon, so there'll be no training for them this week. They'll have a rest tomorrow, and then they're going to go over the hill. I can't see them getting the result there. But look, it's your last game.
It is.
Throw it all at them, and you never know. But
you just don't know what's going to happen in cup football.
No,
end of
that's
season,
right. Yeah,
end of season. Struggling for players. Who knows?
And then what interests me was that another couple of fixtures came up, and in Tākeka that same weekend. So these presumably are catch-up games.
They are, yeah.
And they decided to hold them in Tākeka on that same weekend. So the Golden Bay Shield Maidens taking on you guys, Richmond Foxes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tough match.
This is how we actually really like to finish the season. So we have a really, really good relationship with Golden Bay football. Possibly for some of them, probably not so much for me these days. But so we often have been lucky to finish the season playing the Shield Maidens, and historically we've had our prize giving together over there, which is really, really cool. This game is I think round 16 or 17 that was postponed. The weather was atrocious and they called off all football anyway, so it's a catch-up game.
So if you get an invitation from Phil Smith to go around and party the night before, I'd be avoiding that. There'll be a tactic in there somewhere.
There will be, yeah. But I mean, there's been a few years where we've actually just mixed up the teams and had fun games, even though it counts on the scoreboard and everything. But it's just they're a fun team to finish playing the season. We have a good relationship.
Well, I've actually been impressed with them this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've come a long way, and a lot of young girls. And as Phil said, it's hard to keep players there. And
he's off too. So
he is. That's a huge loss for the region.
Yeah.
Huge loss. Yeah.
Mapua Cougars taking on the Sprig and Fern Tahuna Breakers at the Mapua Domain. Is that right? Or are they going to Tākeka as well? Maybe they are playing at Mapua Domain. Seems strange it wouldn't play over there, but anyway, that must be a catch-up game.
Yeah,
so
it will be. Yeah.
What are we thinking there on the home turf?
The Cougars won that, Chris, I'd say.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well done to the Foxes. They
5 years in a row. That's no mean feat, that, I tell you.
finish on 45, the Diamonds 37. Congratulations to them, and well done to the reserves. A young side finishing on 34. So well done for the season. It's been tough for some girls, so congratulations to those teams that have hung in there and kept putting a team on the park and making it a competitive league. And I felt as the season went on, actually, the teams got closer and closer, didn't they? The standard did rise. So in some of the games.
Well, as I kept on saying, and I'll repeat myself, I know a lot of people like Sash didn't want to be in Division 1. They wanted to have a split league. But you play against better players, you will improve. So stick with it. I think that concept's good.
I think the second div teams, they gained more from it than our teams in the first div, and you just got to make the best of the situation. Really,
Lotzie said it's not an easy outcome to sort out, to be honest. So
Senior Men's Cup games, and it's the Price Charity Cup final over in Golden Bay for Cup final weekend. This is the First Division Cup, and it's Fresh Choice Richmond taking on Rangers.
Yeah, well, I look at that and it disappoints me because I'd like my team to be in it. However, the draw was rigged. They just gave Rangers at home game on Queen's birthday weekend. I don't know why or how.
But didn't you get beaten by Mott?
No, that was Chatham Cup.
Oh, that's Chatham Cup. Sorry.
No, Price Charity Cup, because Rangers moaned that they didn't want to travel all the time. So MBF and Mainland did this draw. They said, for Price Charity Cup, we'll give you a home game. And, of course, they drew us. And, of course, I suspended. Yeah. And then because I suspended, the older lads like Vickers and Billy Scott protested and said, well, we're not going to. So we had to take a bunch of kids over, and then we lost 5-2. So. But, however, I'm just having a moan.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you want to be there.
Yeah, of course I do. Well,
I
I've won it about 4 times in a row, and I've got a bit of pride about the Price Charity Cup.
Right.
But look, that'll be an interesting game because Richmond have improved, and they drew of us.
And it's a long way to go for Rangers.
Well, I think they're having an overnighter. They're making a weekend of it. Yeah, it is. It's an hour and a half. It's probably a 3-hour drive, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it is, yeah.
I think the Rangers boys were saying a couple of weeks ago that they are planning a long weekend. So, but to pick a winner, you'd have to pick Rangers. I think they're probably a bit too strong. But
I
come
think
on, Richmond.
so too. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's been up and down season for Richmond, and then you throw just the nature of cup football into the mix.
Yeah, that'll actually be a good game.
It will be a good game.
Yeah.
The Gordon Tout Trophy, it's the second division cup, and it's FC Nelson Loco Steamers taking on, well, it's a derby, the FC Nelson Chin United.
Well, there's a couple of my players playing in this because Isaac Cunningham's playing for the Steamers because he played in their last game, and Jermaine Wilson-Duggan's playing for the Chin. Actually, this could be quite tight because I don't know if you're aware, the Chin have 3 players suspended for 6 weeks, Van Sarang, Van Roland, and Tang Tang, prior to a game a while ago, which is it's not helping our case for the playoffs, but so they won't be playing. So that should even it up because that's 3 key players for them.
Yeah. So it's going to be a tough match for them.
Yeah, it will be, but you'd have to fancy Chin. They're just probably, younger, fitter. They're a good side. They've still got good players. So I'd pick the Chin.
Yeah, and I think the Steamers, Steamers and Loco both have been having to kind of share players around just to make up numbers. And while they've had good games and bad games, I think consistency would be key.
They're still
for this
training
game.
the Locos. They'll train tonight.
Yeah.
Robbie's been taking them, so look, they'll be competitive. But
The HR Hurst Trophy, this is the third division cup, and Nelson Suburbs FC Seals reserves taking on FC Nelson NMIT.
yeah, well, you'd have to fancy NMIT. They took
They're
out
quite a good side, aren't they?
They took out the third division. Paddy's done a good job with those lads. They've actually got some good players. There's a lad that played for us on Tuesday night, Aidan Lawrence. I'd fancy NMIT to win that and do the double.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Hottie
Hottie won't like me saying that, but
he won't like me saying that.
no, exactly.
The Greg Brown Memorial Cup, which is the fourth division cup. That's the Tasman Auto Electrics Richmond Bogans taking on the Spriggan Fern Tahuna Thirds. What do we reckon there? Have we got inside knowledge? Will the Bogans pull it out?
If it was a fight, you'd probably take the Bogans.
Yeah, that's why I'm giggling because that's going to be an interesting game.
But I think this Tahuna side's quite good,
They are.
from what I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of ex-first division players here, so I'd pick Tahuna for that. But you're playing the Bogans.
It'll be up.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pick the Bogans for that one. I am going to pick the Bogans. Yep. They've had a good consistent team all season. They've got two teams. They've got the Masters team and the actual third div team. So be interesting.
Southern League Women, and pretty much the final match for the season. There are a couple of games to go. Coastal Spirit taking on Dunedin City Royals at English Park. Sorry, only one there. Nelson going down 4-2 to Otago University.
No, they won.
Oh, sorry. They won 4-2. Yes, sorry. I read that wrong. Yes. So what a great end to the season.
Well, it was funny because we played Suburbs on Tuesday night and Geezer come up to me and he goes, "We won." I said, I didn't know the result. Did you? That's a fantastic result for those guys.
Yeah.
Look,
and away.
End of the day, with them being in that league and the travel they've had to do, and they've stuck with it, and then to come up gone all the way to Dunedin and won 4-2 down there.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic result. And I said to Geezer, well done, mate.
Yeah.
They've had a couple of bad results lately, so it all come. He said, actually, they played really, really well. He said,
great.
We had a bit of a plan. The girls worked really hard, and they got the result. So, congratulations to them.
Yeah, and that Otago team's a well-established team.
Oh, yeah.
We even have a couple of players that used to play for them in our team. So
they'll be tidy.
Yeah, very good result. I think.
Good stuff, and good introduction to the season. Look forward to building on that, going forward. The Southern League men, and not the result that we predicted, that's for sure. No. We thought they'd be up for this. So Nelson Suburbs going down 4-1 to Nomads.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Nick Van Haddam about it. They were 1-0 up, and then they conceded a soft goal or something, and then the heads dropped. They're just lacking a bit of experience. They've lost a few key players, and then I think it was 3-1 at half time or something, and then Nomads, carried on and won 4-1 in the end. Nick, because Skippy and Neil away, the Samoan team, so Nick was bitterly disappointed with the performance. He just thought some of the lads left it in the changing shed instead of bringing it out the pitch. So, that's a game that you'd target to win. Well, the calibre of players Suburbs have got, they should still be beating teams like Nomas, but that's football, isn't it?
Yep.
It is.
Have you had a chance to see much of the guys?
I
this year?
Probably more earlier in the season, to be honest. I haven't seen any of the recent games, but I mean, historically following and knowing where Nomads kind of sit on the table, I would have expected that to be kind of an easy win for Suburbs.
Looks like one more round to go, and Nelson Suburbs taking on FC 20 on Sunday at Saxon Field. So hopefully out on a winning note.
Well, it looks like 20 are relegated, so they've got nothing to play for. So I imagine Suburbs will want to finish the season on a win, and I think they will.
Yeah.
So is that an automatic relegation? Because it used to be you go into a playoff, but now, so is that University of Canterbury that goes up, or who goes up from the Christchurch League? We don't know that.
Well, universities have won the local league down. They've got to play us.
Oh, and that makes a decision of who goes into, of course.
Yeah.
But then we've got Dunedin. Well, that's for Southern League.
There can only be one team that goes up.
Yes.
And there can only be one team from mainland because there's two teams going for it.
Yes. But then it's different with the Southern League, isn't it?
Well, because that's Football South. So it's only one team go up. So we've got to play off against universities. One of that plays, I think, Mosgiel.
For the chance to play Southern League. Yeah, gotcha.
League,
So. Okay, good luck to Nelson Suburbs on Sunday for that game. Overseas news, and Erling Haaland from Manchester City wins the PFA Men's Player of the Year award. So that's probably fairly...
I think the women's one was released too. I think it was shared between Rachel Daly and Lauren James.
Well, I looked on BBC News, and I didn't see any mention of that. I did wonder about that.
I think it was just released yesterday somewhere. Saw it.
But that's not unusual to see that news. No. We probably don't have time, but I was going to go through the EFL Cup results. But...
No, don't talk about that. We lost to Salford on penalties.
Oh, no. Leeds lost on penalties, and Fulham beat Tottenham on penalties. Last week I was totally in doom about Fulham going down, and we'll talk about the Premier League soon. And then I went through the EFL results, and I thought, Bridie won't be happy. But there's a lot of results there. But the EFL Cup, was played on that weekend. So
it's just look, the League Cups. It's a great one for the minor teams to have their day on the sun. And like Salford beating Leeds, that's a huge result. It was an ex-Leeds guy that scored the goal. But Leeds had 80% possession, 31 shots on goal. I watched the highlights, done me head in. But that's, at the end of the day, if it was a game of rugby, you only have to get the ball over the line and press it down. Soccer, you've got to try and get in that box, and sometimes it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But let's not talk about
it. Now, I'm going to have to borrow someone's bit of paper because I've just realised I can't enlarge the sheet that I've got here for this. So we're talking about English Premiership, and we've got round 4. And I'll hand it back to you, Bridie, because we'll talk about a couple of the games. But let's just talk about the draw. We've got Luton Town taking on West Ham. West Ham going well at the moment. Sheffield United taking on Everton. Everton really needs a result. But it's not going to be easy. Sheffield, I thought, put up a good fight against Man City, wasn't it? Man City taking on Fulham. Well, I was talking doom and gloom. We end up drawing with Arsenal with 10 men.
I watched it. He played well.
Yeah, they're starting to hit their straps.
Believe.
Well,
believe in your team.
I thought it was gone, but they really bounced back. 2 great results. Drawing with Tottenham, but then getting on penalties and then drawing against Arsenal. So there's hope. Maybe we can tip them up, Phil Thompson.
I doubt it.
We're coming for you. I doubt it.
All I'm going to say is very early in the season. Very early in the season. So I don't tend to make any kind of fortuitous comments on how teams are going.
No, well,
at this stage.
Chelsea were 1-0 down in the EFL Cup, but they came back. They got Nottingham Forest.
They do.
Whether we'll see Chris Wood or not, who knows? Burnley taking on Tottenham. Tottenham travelling very well at the moment. Brentford going well against Bournemouth, Brighton and Newcastle, another tough game there. Crystal Palace were 1-0 down in the EFL, but they ended up coming back as well against, I can't remember, it was a
Plymouth goal.
Yeah, that's right.
Ben Wayne scored for Plymouth.
He did.
Right. Young Phoenix boy.
Did see that.
Oh, there you go. Crystal Palace against Wolves, Liverpool and Aston Villa, probably one of the games of the round for me. And also the other one is Arsenal versus
that'll be a good game.
Man U. So outside of the
Who do you
Italian
support?
Yeah.
Holly?
Well, admittedly, I don't actually support an EPL team. I mean, I'll watch any game, to be honest.
You just haven't got a team yet. It's sort of
Well,
Italian
you must have a soft spot. For
It's the Italian league.
well,
over there.
if
that's her husband's Italian.
husband's Italian, but and he's not a footballer at all.
No.
But I would typically follow more of the European leagues like Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga. I find it more interesting. But if I had to pick a team to support, it probably would be Arsenal, just because Jorginho plays.
I thought you
for them.
said Chelsea last time.
He transferred. It's not my fault.
Oh, it's a particular
It's a
player.
player.
Are you going to reveal or not? Is that your secret?
Jorginho.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Yeah, Jorginho. So
he was at Chelsea, wasn't he?
he was at Chelsea. Yeah, and he transferred last season. So
So who do you follow in the Italian league then? Who's your
I Napoli. Yeah.
Napoli.
Napoli. Yeah, I think I even if I didn't, I'd have to say this because this is being recorded and I live on Grove Street in the Wood. So
Napoli Way's right opposite your house.
it is. Yeah,
Oh, right. Yes,
yeah,
of course.
it is. Yeah.
Shout out to Francis Michio and the Italian crew. So, they're vehemently Italian supporters
Yes.
whenever there's a World Cup on it, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They haven't been to the last two.
Yeah.
No, well,
let's-
that's right.
Let's just not talk about that.
Yeah. I don't think they want to talk
Don't
about
you
that.
have something else to move on to?
Did well in the Euros, though, didn't they? All right. So, Liverpool and Aston Villa and Arsenal and Man U. So, what are we picking there?
Arsenal
one.
against Liverpool, was it?
Arsenal against Man U.
Arsenal.
Arsenal at home.
I'm going to go Arsenal at home.
And Liverpool and Aston Villa
Liverpool.
at home. They did well, didn't they?
Well,
Was
the
it-
game, that was a fantastic. I watched, actually,
Yeah.
I got up early in the morning. I watched the Liverpool Newcastle game, and they, Van Dijk sent off after 29 minutes. So they played most of the game with 10 men.
Mm.
And what you do, Klopp did, is that, well, if you lose a player, you're playing 4 or 5 at the back. If you play 4, you get someone sent. You just play a player 3, and that's it. So he didn't change anything. All you do, he just lost the defender, will bring the 3 and play narrow. And they actually did it really, really well. And he had 2 subs in Nunez and Jota. You got those 2 guys on the bench, fantastic strikers. And you could just see it happening. The tie was, they just hung in there, kept it really narrow. Salah was dropping into midfield. Great players, and then all of a sudden Nunez just a couple of nice moves, boom, through. Fantastic runs. If you're an aspiring striker and you're working on how to make runs, watch Darwin Nunez's goals against Newcastle were fantastic, and he completely finished it. So you could probably say they were a bit lucky, and they probably were, because the first one took a bit of a bobble off the defender. But full credit to Liverpool, they hung in there. So yeah,
And didn't they go down to 10?
yes,
Someone got 10. That was quite controversial, wasn't it?
I was just talking about that, Chris.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I was listening to your tactics. I was so focused on your
Van Dijk
tactics.
went off, so he didn't change anything. So
No.
instead of having
Yeah.
4, he just went 3, but kept it really narrow.
Yeah.
And so if there's any space for them to get, it's going to be on the flank. So, and they just chipped away. They chipped away, and then got 2 goals in 10 minutes. No, well, look, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm a Leeds fan, but the way they went up to the northeast of Newcastle and robbed them of 3 points.
I
That
know,
was quite
because
funny.
that's the cauldron
That's
up there,
well
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, not easy.
I'm just looking at these sides. Talk about the comeback kings. Liverpool. You can't write them off. They'll come back. Aston Villa will give them a good shot. But both Arsenal came back to get a result, and Man U came back to get a result. So it's going to be a very interesting match, isn't it? It's going to be never say die.
Yeah, well, Man United were 2-0 down against Forest.
Yeah.
Look,
That was a frustrating game to watch.
I just Man United. I'm not sure about them. I'm not sure about the manager. The players. Eriksen's a good player. They just seem to be.
You're going to get in trouble with Sasha for saying all this?
Oh, she won't. She doesn't watch this, surely. I'm not sure about them. I just think they're not as tight as those other sides collectively. Look, individually, great players, Fernandez and, you know, these Antonys and Casemiro, but I don't know, there's just something not right there. That's just, they should be, you know, they're the biggest club in the world. They're up there with the Barcelona's real. They should be winning, and I
agree.
I'm just not sure about them. That's all.
I agree.
Let's see what happens. Okay, just some quick news from New Zealand football. The under-23s beat Fiji 3-1 at the OFC Men's Olympic Qualifier, and New Zealand football have confirmed 19-player squad for the OFC Under-16 Women's Championship 2023, set to be played in Tahiti, the 13th through to the 30th of September. Congratulations to Katie Pugh of Nelson Suburbs for making that squad. I think she also made the Phoenix Academy squad as well. So fantastic news.
And I think I saw some news for the Wellington Phoenix women's team. I think Daisy Brazendale has been promoted from the academy up into the main team, which is a huge achievement for the region. So that's huge congrats to her.
Good wee player.
Yeah, great for the young players to be coming through at that level for sure. And well, that's pretty much it, apart from what's on the news front, Bridie, the Bridie news front.
Well, just Neil and Skippy messaged me about their Samoans had a 3-0 win. They're coaching them up in they're in Olympic qualifying. They beat Tonga, so they have to get points off Vanuatu or Solomons to make the top two. Then they'll play Fiji and New Zealand in the semis. So well done to them.
Yeah.
Secondary schools, college boys were away in Christchurch this week. Disappointing results. Didn't have a win. So a bit disappointing there. And the college girls played in Blenheim. They had a couple of wins, so they get back today, so they're quite happy. And anything else is should we talk about the kiss? I can't believe this. No, I'm just honestly,
before you get onto that, I
just can't believe. Sorry.
There's some football news that I think is more important to address, and that's that the Foxes are looking for a coach next season.
Oh yes,
so I'm just going to put that out there while I have the platform.
Yeah.
So get in touch if anybody's interested.
Well, the Spanish chairman, the GM, he's out of a job. So
the problem what he's got, the guy that he said it was consensual.
I don't
know. I think he grabbed her forehead.
No, he did grab her forehead,
pulled her in.
She didn't actually pull away.
Well, I don't think
but I
she
just
had
don't think
time to react.
I don't think
shock.
it needs all this publicity about it.
No, it doesn't. It's a shame that it's taken away from the achievement of the Spanish team actually winning the FIFA World Cup.
Bridie, as you said last week, these days you don't assume.
No.
You shake someo's hand. And I think because
or siesta or something like that.
Well, that's up to them. Yeah. That's up to them, isn't it? I think and I remember years ago, I was coaching softball, in fact, and the assistant Australian coach said to me, when you're coaching, especially younger women, and presumably these days guys as well, he had a teacher friend of his that put his arm around a girl. He got accused because she was upset with the coach about sexual harassment. He lost his job. He actually spent some time in jail. And when he got out of jail, the girls admitted that they'd made it up. Now,
that's terrible.
On the other side of the coin, it does happen.
It does.
And so when you're in a coaching position or in a position of that nature, you have to be careful. And that was told to me at a very young age. And I remember that now. And it's hard because when you're consoling someone or whether you want a quiet word in the air, it's easy just to put your arm around the shoulder and say, well done, or, hey, listen, this is what I want you to do on the pitch.
Don't touch me.
All of that kind of thing. And different people are going to have different reactions. So you do have to back off. And it's up to the person that you're talking to whether they want a hug or a kiss or whatever that might be.
Absolutely. And I think you need to be so aware of your relationship with that person, or if you're a coach and you're coaching young women, then you should be aware that you just have to be careful. There's boundaries. But I think in this case, if he had gone and that was the way he actually congratulated the whole team. But
it almost was, apart from the kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was picking every player up. He was overly excited.
Yeah.
And,
there are times when you're in the moment and you may act inappropriately. You don't see it at the time. Yeah. But the media does blow everything up.
So. That's right.
Look, just before we go, the playoffs have been confirmed for FC Nelson.
Yes.
FC Nelson's home to Universities next Saturday, the 9th. Is it the 9th Saturday? The Saturday.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And I think it might even be at Trafalgar Park yet. We're not sure. The away Taua's at English Park the following Saturday. So
Yeah.
So first,
Do you know what time?
I think it's a 2:30 kickoff. Yeah.
Perfect. It's my baby shower at 11. I can make it.
oh,
Excellent. So once we
so
yeah,
bring the baby shower to the football.
yeah.
But the home game first, and then the away
Yes,
in the
they did
second
it-
leg.
Well, they did it live
Yeah.
on YouTube. We actually saw it. I said,
Oh no.
we'll guarantee we'll get the home game, but it was, and so we're away the week after. Winner of that plays the winner, so it could
Right.
drag on for another 4 weeks, but
Okay.
who knows?
We'll wrap it up there.
All right.
Ollie's got a meeting,
Yes.
and great to see you, Bridie, again.
No worries.
Good luck with the build up to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fantastic to finally have you in, Holly.
Thanks for
And
having
don't be
me.
a stranger. We want
I
you
won't.
back.
No,
It'd be
absolutely
great
not.
to have you back in again.
I'll probably have more time to talk football now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, exactly. Good stuff. And thank you to our listeners. Keep the comments coming in. Good luck this weekend with Cup finals in Golden Bay. Shout out to everyone, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Talk Nelson Radio. It's the Talk of Nelson.